Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Well, welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. As you can see, Winston is out today. He and Gail are traveling, so safe travels to them. But my name is Stan Kirkland, and I'll be your host today. The weather is brought to us by Haney Technical Center. The high today is 89 degrees, the low is 71. We're still in that summertime pattern. The water temperature is 86 degrees. We haven't had any cool weather for the Gulf temperature to start dropping yet, but we're hopeful. River readings, Apalachicola River at Bluntstown's at 1.8 feet, and holding Choctawhatchee River at Kerrville is dropping. It's at 7 feet, so it is it's dropping. Good time to go fishing if you like to fish these rivers. Tides brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home. The high was this morning at 3:51 a.m. The low is at 3:07 p.m. this afternoon. Real swing in the tide today of 1.8 feet. That's what you look for if you like to fish particularly the bays around here. Good time to go this morning. The marine forecast, the winds out of the east at 5 to 10 today. Mostly sunny conditions and very little chance of rain, only a 20% chance of rain. So with that, let's take our first break now. Well, welcome back. Sitting on my right, your left, is Ken Paramore.
Morning.
How you doing?
Pro staff is, or I don't know, maybe Winston just scraped the bottom of the barrel today.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
yeah, I know the feeling.
Dynamic duo is back.
How have you been?
I'm good. I'm good. It's
good.
I'm ready for cooler weather though. This summer is taking its toll.
Yeah, I was telling Jeff and you earlier. I keep hearing these weather reports where people are talking about snow in some parts of the country and the first frost and all of this, and I'm like,
it'll be a while
yeah,
yet.
we haven't. I don't even think that's on the horizon. Usually, you know, around the 1st of October, we start getting a little cool weather. But man, we have not even. I don't even see anything coming.
Not over a week, 10 days, I think now.
And I'm like, golly, you got to be kidding. But anyway, on a positive note, Ken, you head up our Turkey chapter. You serve as our president, CEO. You carry a lot of titles there. But give us a wrap up.
Well, I couldn't do it without the help from our dedicated committee and our dedicated treasurer here on my left. Yeah. So we did. We had a very good banquet. I think first week in August, or the end of the first week in August, and it was really successful. It was our fourth, and see, I can't even remember now. And we raised a pretty good amount of money for the cause, and we had great fellowship, and we had a bunch of good entertainment, and our auctioneers were over the top.
That's right.
Food was delicious from the church, and thanks to all of our sponsors that helped make it successful.
We had a record number
of paid table sponsors and sponsors. And of course, thanks for everybody who came and helped support us. We had 200 plus, I would guess. And I know we quit counting and we were in the upper 190s and just got too hectic at the door to count. But it was as good, if not better, than any that we've had so far. So,
and I'll tell you, that chef at First United Methodist Church, Jim, and all of a sudden I'm going blank on Jim's last name, but he is as good a chef as I've seen around. He that was great food.
Yeah, it was
so anyway, we had a good night.
Good. Yeah, but wasn't for our sponsors, we probably wouldn't have been successful, and we're looking forward to number 5.
I'm telling you, and that money, we're a pass-through, like a lot of chapters for different organizations in the country, whether it be Quail Unlimited or QDMA or Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, whatever they are. We're a pass-through, so we take that money, it goes and then it's used for wild turkey management projects across Florida. So, and Ken sits on the board. He's been selected to the state board and represents us here in the Panhandle. So that's a good thing.
And we distribute those monies throughout the state public wildlife management areas. So there's no politics in where money goes specifically. We debate it for an entire day. The biologists with FWC and NWTF, they present a list of priorities of projects, and then we discuss the importance and spread them out throughout the state.
And it's good, and it's money well spent. Ken, shifting gears just a minute, have you had a chance to fish any? Have you?
Yes, sure have. Of course, when snapper's over, you know, there's kind of a lull, and I didn't go a bunch, and then we had rain for weeks
and days on end.
And the water got stained, and I, you know, but went back the last couple of weeks and had a couple good trips. Caught some. I caught the biggest red snapper I've caught in over 4 years.
And that was during the close time, I believe.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw a picture of it. That was
we released
what,
it.
30-pound fish?
No, he wasn't that much, but he was over 30
a big
inches.
sow, yeah, wow.
And then my son just this week caught a nice sized mahi. The pelagics are inshore or closer to shore. The weed line is 8 to 10 miles out. They're catching wahoo, dolphin, which is mahi. He hooked a sailfish the other day and jumped it off. So the fishing for pelagics has really been good just offshore. The water's really blue, about 10 miles. And
now,
of course,
were y'all trigger fish?
We did catch some triggers, of course, and when state was open, you could keep one.
Right.
And so then we fished for the bottom, like the white snapper, which is a red porgy. Tried to catch some sea bass. Of course, you're going to catch red snapper, which have to go back. But we had some good trips the last few weeks, and this month has been really good for fishing, but really hot.
Yeah, when we come, we're going to take a break coming up here in just a second, but when we come back, we're going to unfortunately talk a little bit about the what's happened with red tide, and it's just been disappointing to say the least. But we'll take a break here coming up, and then when we come back, Ken and I will be with you. Well, welcome back. Ken, we were talking when we went to break about red tide, and tell us what you saw when you were out there. And I think you even had some video that you posted.
I posted some video. I've got a couple of pictures. We were running from offshore to come in.
Is this in the last 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, right when it was in the height in Bay County. Maybe 3 weeks now, but we were running and saw this white image, you know, on the horizon that, what in the world, you know, and got up there to it, and it was literally thousands of dead fish that were in the tide line. Literally hundreds of bull redfish.
The fish we encourage people to release.
Yeah, hundreds of them. And they were all in this tide line that, you know, the currents and the wind and all made them in a line. And it was from there offshore, and it was there inshore. And then it was all kind of little, you know, grunt and probably immature or you know, young snappers and some bottom fish, triggerfish, flounder. And I know, you know, it's a natural occurrence according to the experts, but it doesn't take away from the impact it has on you when you see it.
Sure.
You know, and you've worked all your career to protect, you know, that size fish, and the people have done a really diligent, you know, job of releasing those type fish, and just to see something take them out by the hundreds. That's all the breeding redfish for the coast, the Emerald Coast.
Well, I went this past Saturday over to, I went in the main gate there in Tyndall and fished there in what I guess you'd call it Tyndall East, which is in that water body between Tyndall Air Force Base and Shell Island. And I thought I'd be insulated from it. But when I got over there, the stench of dead fiddlers was just overpowering. There are thousands of dead fiddler crabs. There were fresh mullet that had just died. There were old mullet that were dead. There flounder. There was a 60, probably 80-pound stingray there, and in fact, it scared me. I walked up on him. First thing I saw was that big tail and stinger, but he was obviously dead. So now on the positive side, there were mullet jumping. I did see some fish striking. So, and I did hear yesterday that no fish have washed up in Gulf County in the last few days. I hope I don't want to jinx Gulf County, but so hopefully, hopefully we've got the worst of this behind us.
You know, one thing I don't understand about it is, the biologists and the experts, they call it a natural occurrence. And yeah, we've had red tide in the state, for
well, Spanish documented back in the 1600s.
Right. But to me, when it's killing, particularly on the west coast of Florida, around Lee County and Charlotte County and Sarasota County, when it's killing sea turtles, and manatees, dolphin, which I get it that they're breathing that toxin that's in the air, but to me something's triggering this, if not more than it used to, because being a native of Florida and being in South Florida, we've seen it, but not to the extent that I've seen it in the last 10 to 15 years off and on. So something to me is triggering it, or triggers it to the extent or to the size than, to me, what it used to not be.
Well, people want to know. I mean, they want to know a couple of things. They want to know what's triggering it, if scientists can determine that, and then how do you stop it, and what can you do? And I'm not sure. I know that there's a lot of political discussion, and I don't want to get into all of that. But I'm glad to see that there's going to be hopefully some attention focused on it, and hopefully going forward, I just hope they come up with some answers. So anyway, Ken, let's talk for just a minute about the Camo Dreams fundraiser before we we've got another break coming up in just a minute. You're familiar with Derek Fussell and Camo Dreams?
A great organization, does a wonderful benefit to underprivileged children.
Terminally ill
and underprivileged, and takes them on fishing trips and hunting trips of their lifetime. And he's having a fundraiser this Saturday at 11 a.m. at Sunjammers Water Sports.
They're on Beck Avenue in St. Andrews.
They're going to have a benefit fish fry. So we encourage everybody to come on out and support Derek and Camo Dreams to help him continue the dream of getting these terminally ill children an opportunity to enjoy the outdoors in their limited time.
I've been and I've helped Derek before. I know Derek asked me to go as of all things the camp cook, and I'm not. That is not a badge that I've worn before, and fortunately everybody survived on the trip. Well,
Derek is known to be the cook.
I know, but he was busy with the family and with the young men that he hosted on this particular. But they have young ladies too. They do, fishing trips. They do. In fact, he's invited me to go before when they go offshore fishing with him, and it just hasn't been where I could. But they do hunting trips. I know.
I think they've got an out west trip coming up. Maybe elk or something out west here in the next month or so.
And I think he's already had one or two trips. He called me recently and mentioned to me about scoring some antlers for him. So. I don't know if that's Camo Dreams or something else, but anyway.
So come on out Saturday and get a plate and help support Camo Dreams.
And that'll be at 11 a.m. At Sunjammers in St. Andrews. Ken, hunting season is approaching. Already hunting season, it's hard to imagine, but hunting seasons have been in for 6-7 weeks in the West and Midwest.
And Florida.
Well, I know in Florida, but not up
South
here.
Florida.
Yeah, not up here where we are.
I can't imagine hunting them in August, but they do in South Florida.
Oh my goodness, I can't. I know it's too hot. I'm telling you, when you want to, I can't imagine how hot that is. But particularly the hunting in the West. So, what CWD? What do we? What was the one thing that we were always mindful when people came back here? I suppose.
Well, there used to be 13 states, or there was a number of states that are classified as a CWD state, which is chronic wasting disease, and it was illegal to bring back the brain material, the spinal material, the carcass bone material of game taken, deer taken in those states, and it still is. I think they've added a state or two since I retired, but we don't need that in our herd here in the state of Florida is the reason for that. And if you get your meat boned out and your mounts caped out and bring back just your horns and your cape and boned out meat, you'll be good to go.
Yep, you're right. Okay, listen, more on that when we come back, but let's go ahead and take our next break now, and we'll be back with you in just a moment. Well, welcome back. We were talking about hunting, particularly hunting out west. I know I got a request the other day to score a couple of racks for people, and actually they're mule deer that have already been killed out in the western United States. Of course, they're going to be scored officially for either Pope and Young or Boone and Crockett, and so they'll have to dry for 60 days. But we were talking about, you and I were talking about chronic wasting disease. It is not a disease that we have here in Florida in our deer. It is found in a number of states, but the question always people ask me is, since we're not allowed to, and of course Ken and I both now retired, but the question is, how do we know, what states and that are under these CWD protocols? The simplest thing to do is go to their website, read. If you can't figure it out on their website, give them a call and talk with somebody and find out. Some of the states, even for these bigger animals like elk, for instance, if you draw a permit in Arizona and Mexico or some of the other states, Colorado, Montana, they actually have testing programs. So where they tell you the meat is not affected by this, they will test your animal to find out if it's a CWD positive animal. So anyway, but you can't bring whole heads, as Ken was saying, back from those states. You can't bring them back to Florida because that's where that brain spinal material is where this infectious agent is that causes this, and we don't want to get started here in our state. It's a nightmare.
There's been a couple states, excuse me, that are new to they found it in their state, and it's creeping.
Yep. And the one thing that, without going in really any more detail in it, is the people that move deer, that transport deer farms, that's highly regulated and all, but that seems to be a culprit in some of the instances.
A lot of states have stopped it.
Yeah, they have. They've stopped it. Deer season's approaching, Ken. I know it's cooled off probably a lot up in where you hunt.
In the mornings, early is not too bad. It's still hot. The humidity, you can't hardly get a whole lot done.
I was joking when I said cool.
October 20th is bow and crossbow
right.
in our zone. So
you cleaning out your shooting lanes and getting your, I don't know if you use it.
You get so exhausted, you have to take breaks and chainsawing trees that have fallen down over the summer, and dead trees that have fallen down, and feeders that have either blown over or hogs knocked them over. Even though they've been empty for months, they'll still root around them and knock them over.
Y'all have bears? Y'all have bear issues where you are? That's good.
Not occasionally.
Yeah.
Tree stands, more importantly, is the straps that hold them, especially ladder stands, to the trees. The pins that hold them together, check for rust. And
it's not a good idea to leave these tree stands out there from year to year. If you do that, you really need to now take them down, check everything, straps, as you said, pins, because you're taking somebody that's 175, 180, 200 pounds or more, and you're putting them up, 10, 12 feet or more off the ground. So
and a lot of these stands in the latter, say 10 years, are made overseas, and they're used with substandard steel and or welds. And I've gotten a couple over the years that I end up getting rid of because the rust starts prematurely, and the seams where they're welded come apart, and It's just not a lot of the quality that some of the older stands had. So be careful with that too. Check them.
Yep, and also make sure if you're going to use a climbing stand, get you a a safety harness, and use the safety rope with that. I know there's a big company, Hunter Safety Systems, and I've seen their product at work. Actually, I was at an outdoor riders meeting a few years ago, and their company president stepped out of a tree stand. He was about 12 feet off the ground, and he so believed in their product. I wouldn't have done it, but he did it. He stepped out of a tree stand to demonstrate what happens, and it's amazing. Now it'll bruise you. He was bruised, but he was demonstrating what happens, how that thing works. And I don't know if you've ever seen one of them, but that rope, the way that thing's sewed, it's like a shock absorber when it comes apart, when you fall and you put pressure on it. And did you know that if you actually fall out of the stand, if you send them back, they will re-sew it. So I don't recommend that, but you know,
better bruised than broken.
Exactly. So wear those. Again, listen, before we've got in the final seconds that we have before we go off there, remember there's a fundraiser this Saturday, the 6th, at Sunjammers for Camo Dreams. And in Camo Dreams is all about Derek Fussell and his partner. It's all about giving terminally ill kids a chance to do something fun outdoors. Whether it's hunting, fishing, or whatever they want to do, and they do a super job. Again, it's a fundraiser, so keep that in mind. It's a fish fry at Sunjammers, 11 a.m.
Sunjammers is a sponsor, and you can shop in there while you're there supporting Camo Dream.
Right, that's exactly right. So any final thoughts in the last few seconds?
Nope, it's been a joy to be back, and I wish everybody a happy hunting season and a safe hunting season. And we'll be back soon, I suppose.
Yes, if Winston wants us back. Listen, tight lines, and we will see you soon.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.